Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you in a pinch, and also has more BB hits on his face than someone going through puberty again. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs, and yes, this is not acne. This is a lot of BB strikes. Even though I went to the big game, if you guys didn't know, I went to Faded Giant last week. Faded Giant number 4, put on by American Milsim, had a blast, but it is a very CQB facility. It's at GTI, or Government Training Institute, in Barnwell, South Carolina. It's an old nuclear fuels processing facility, and it is just concrete walls and labyrinths. And there's a lot of up-close shooting, which is fun. I really enjoy it. But even with my helmet, my face mask, my goggles, and everything on, a few of them kind of slip through the cracks. A lot of headshots, because a lot of times, between it and your knuckles, that's all you should really be exposing. In fact, most of my hits were here, and then when I did go busting into rooms, up and down my legs too. God, those leg shots hurt so bad. But enough of the events. Also, let me tell you what's going on in the show. We're gonna be talking a couple questions this one. One, about how to zero your rifle and at what range. Also, how to store your pistol. And then on top of all that, we're gonna be covering one more about competitive airsoft and my thoughts on it and where it went. Also, the patch wall. New additions. I've got a bunch of new additions on here. I misplaced a few of these patches, and all of these over here are new from some of the stops and some of my personal friends like Dan Castro. This is Rob Murray, Robo Murray, great channel. Both these guys, Daniel runs Milsim Media, and then of course Robo is Robo Airsoft. And then, of course, all the other shops I visited. If you guys want to get your patch on the wall, like next time I see you, if I bump into you at your field, or if you're out playing, toss me a patch, I'll get it up here on the wall. I've got some personal ones up here. I'll start ripping the personal ones down and filling in those holes with your patches as well. But enough of all that. Let's jump on into what you're here for, and that is your questions. Hilarious CSGO Vids writes, "Hey John, I have a real EOTech with a 4x magnifier behind it that flips to the side. What range do you recommend I zero the EOTech at?" So for airsoft, obviously zeroing your weapon is very different than a real firearm. For me in airsoft, I zero at about 100 feet. So I pick a target right at 100 feet. That's typically most of my engagements in airsoft are gonna be around that range or closer. Also for me, at 100 feet, you're still getting a pretty flat trajectory on your airsoft rifle. On some pistols, you might start to fizz out a little bit at that range, but on a rifle, especially if you're shooting between 350 and 400, you should be right on at that point. The BB should still be flying flat. You should be just at the beginning of that where the hop up, if you've got the hop up turn, just like what I call like slightly over hopped, you get this little rise in the BB as it floats on, or before, if you don't have that, you've just got it kind of set flat before it dies off. So yeah, I would definitely put your target out at 100 feet, start to zero it in there and zero in your EOTech or whatever you have, including your magnifier. Typically you can adjust your hop up once you get it zeroed for that. Play with the hop up a little bit, get that float just right, and you should be good all the way out to your gun's max range, which effective is about 150 to 175 on most airsoft guns. Some can be bigger or farther depending if you're looking at like DMRs, sniper rifles, or something that is just incredibly tuned. But for the most part, that's gonna be your sweet spot right there at 100 feet. Mystery Riddle writes, "Hey John, I was wondering how important a tack light is for CQB indoor environment and tack light for blinding opponents. Thanks, love the show, and nice meeting you at Ricochet Tactical." Yep, right here, Ricochet Tactical. Nice meeting you there too. So yes, indoors and like for example, going to Faded Giant this weekend, having a tack light is invaluable. You absolutely positively need to have one if you're playing any kind of like low light environment or any kind of CQB in like dark rooms or at your local fields or arenas. Even outdoor games, if it's in low light or dark, you're going to want a flashlight, and not for the obvious reasons. Obvious reason is, to blind your opponent or to see where you're going. But the most important thing with a flashlight is, in dark or low light environments, you're not going to be able to see your BBs, and that can be a big challenge. Are you hitting your target? I mean, even if you really have your optic zeroed in, you're not 100% sure. There could be a lot of variables like grass or branches or just anything that could be getting in the way. So having a light out there will let you see that BB fly in the air and hit the target. Alternately, a tracer works as well, but having that flashlight on top of that lets you at least illuminate your opponent and then actually see the BB go and strike the opponent, which really does help. And then so you're not overshooting your opponent as well. So it's not just knowing you actually got him or helping you aim, but also preventing that full auto burst of overshooting if your field does allow full auto. So yeah, definitely have that. Now the blinding thing, it does help a lot too, especially if the person who's using the light is smart And I'll show you with this, I got a flashlight right here. So if you turn this light on, and I'm gonna try not to blind the camera, and you're shining the light, it can be really blinding. I'm not even aiming, I'm aiming it right down right now. But the best thing to do is, if you're here, you kind of move away from your light a little bit, and you can use it as like a decoy. So the opponents are gonna shoot naturally at the flashlight. Well, if you're over here, you're doing a good job. And that's why I recommend having one of these as well, having a handheld flashlight. This one I just got in, I'm gonna be doing a review on this one. It's an OL light, it's like an M1X, it's like a tactical light. It has multiple brightness levels, but you don't even need this. Any basic flashlight will work. Having something handheld, especially if you're playing CQB with like a pistol, be able to go like this and then shoot from over here is a huge thing, because that can be the difference of you getting your target hit and not being hit by those return BBs. Well, all right, gas gun hammer, cocked or uncocked for storage? Definitely uncocked. And the reason is, inside of a gas pistol, you actually have a spring that runs down the back. And if you leave the hammer back in that cocked position, so you cock the hammer back, it's sitting in that back position, you're compressing that spring and leaving it stored that way. It's essentially like leaving BBs in your magazine. You're gonna be doing the same thing to the spring. It's not gonna be good. And I know people will argue with me, it's like, oh, well, springs shouldn't wear out. Well, that's in a perfect world, I know. But in airsoft world, the materials they use, the really thin spring, especially the thin one in there, leaving it cocked back could kind of soften that spring and wear it out prematurely, so you'll have trouble with the ability for that hammer to strike the back of the magazine and actually fire effectively. So yeah, you can cause some major problems leaving your gun cocked back. Now there's some that actually use a leaf spring, which probably wouldn't be as bad in there, but depending on the gun you have, and I don't know which one you have, it's good practice. Take the mag out, dry fire it just so it clicks. Now I say that's the only time I say dry fire it. You're just letting the hammer go forward. You're not actually firing it with no BBs in it. And then put the mag in or leave the mag separate and store it away. Chicago Gaming writes, questions. What happened to ACA and how would you go about bringing up competitive airsoft at our local field? Thanks. So for those of you who aren't aware what ACA was, it was the Association of Competitive Airsoft. It was something big a few years back, actually put on pretty well to have a competitive form of airsoft where you had two teams. They actually had classes, and the way the respawn system worked, certain classes could respawn quicker, certain classes could pre-deploy on the field, and it used like this, looks like an arcade board with buttons. I think it was pretty pricey as well. So all that said, I think that was kind of the Achilles heel of why the competitive airsoft scene went down. How to get started at your local field? I think airsoft is just unfortunately not set up for a team-on-team competitive kind of environment. And that's, again, I think it's just, you put money in the thing, you don't have a marking situation like you do in paintball where it's like, boom, I hit you, there's the paint, I know I got you, and the ref can come and verify that. Airsoft is very much an honor system, and I think when, unfortunately, you introduce like money or prizes into the game and the system, it could lend to some people cheating. I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying even every team, I'm just saying you're going to bring a team in. I guarantee you, if I put on a tournament and said 10 teams come, there's $1,000 prize money, there will be one team chock full of cheaters or pretty heavily stacked full of cheaters that are there just to win the prize money at any cost and not play competitively and fairly. So I think that's why. And on that note too, stay tuned for the video recommendation of the week. I picked one out just for you in this question that'll kind of show you what competitive airsoft can be and where it's being executed and what you kind of get from it. Blue Vampire Hunter writes, I have three questions. What is your name? What is your quest? And what is your favorite color? I'm Jonathan from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm here to provide airsoft videos for you, and my favorite color is blue. No, yellow. Well guys, that's it for questions this week, which means it's time for the Code Red Headsets video recommendation of the week. And this one does come on the heels of talking about competitive airsoft. And I thought this was a great time to bring up one that it's been quite a while since I dug this one out. I've seen them. This comes from a channel called Bravok27, and I believe this is out of the Philippines. I'm 99% sure it's from the Philippines. If not, please let me know in the comments below if I'm screwing it up with the location. But this is competitive Filipino airsoft in that scene. It's very different than airsoft here in the United States, probably different than anything you guys have probably ever seen. If you haven't watched this video, it's got nearly 100,000 views. It's been out for a few years now, and Bravok27's put out a couple of videos here and there, about one a month over the course of the past couple years of more competitive. But this is the Painful Hits compilation. This will give you an idea and show you kind of a good highlight reel of what competitive airsoft is in the Philippines. Personally, This is not my cup of tea. This is not the kind of play that I personally like doing, but I wanted to show you guys this video to give you a feel of what competitive airsoft can evolve to be if you're going for prize money and you're team-based and you're forcing the refs to call your hits basically like paintball. So guys, if you haven't checked it out, give it a like. Don't give any hate. I mean, this is what they love in their community. So don't go over there and go, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this, if you guys hate it. But just see it. I want to show this to you guys and give you a feel of what airsoft is like in other locales. Well guys, that is it for this week. Let me give you a quick update. Right now, I'm actually, believe it or not, back in Nashville, Tennessee for about 1 week. I'm getting caught up in videos. This week's Mondays, I'm gonna do next Mondays, and I've got a ton of stuff, including that gameplay video I promised you. I'll have that out, and we're gonna start seriously on those Fridays. So guys, stay tuned on Fridays. We're gonna see gameplay every single week, and you're gonna see the series of Operation Irene, which I had so much fun. It's actually really a cool environment. And I think the first couple videos really kick it off great. I'm really excited to get it out. And then I'm super stoked about getting to the Fate of Giants series as well, because the direct action mission I ran with the EVIC guys, my goodness, probably the best hour or so of airsoft I have ever played in my lifetime, and that's coming up soon. And I thought Irene had taken the cake up to that point. So lots of exciting airsoft, and then like I said, we'll come back around to the Copperhead stuff. Also, don't forget, like I said, the patch is almost gone, so if you want to grab one of those chameleon green ones, now is your chance. Go ahead and grab one up. They're in the store. Remember, free shipping anywhere in the world. And if you want to get your question on the show, I'm trying to get it all in, don't forget, all you gotta do is put it in the comment section below. Vote up your favorites, and I'll get them on the next show. Well guys, until next week and until next show that's full of your questions, go out, play some airsoft, have some fun, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.